we go, gentlemen. Numbers climbing. Unfortunately, Stephen A., your reaction to the latest, and good morning, Marcus. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't want this to be taken wrong.
Okay.
I think the first words that need to come out of my mouth is that I'm wishing Kevin Stefanski. I know his dad, Ed Stefanski, very, very well. I love that man. We go back a long ways. I'm wishing Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield, and anybody on the Browns or anybody in the NFL the best of health, hoping that everybody comes back healthy and they're going to be all right. But I got to tell you something that's been on my mind and on my heart for the last few weeks. I'm glad this is happening because I think people have dropped the ball in terms of embracing the level of seriousness and urgency as it pertains to COVID-19. We actually walk around like there is still not a global pandemic going on. I'm not talking everyone, of course. There's millions of people who address it with the seriousness that it deserves, fellas, Molly. Mm-hmm. But there are far too many people that are not treating this with the seriousness that it deserves. And the fact that there's a vaccine out there has given people even more of an excuse to drop the ball instead of addressing the level of seriousness that needs to become associated with this, guys. That's where I'm at with it. We walk around, we got people in our faces, we get in other people's faces, we're not taking into account. This stuff is still going on, and it needs to be treated seriously. And so because something like this pops up, it reminds the NFL, it reminds professional athletes, it reminds everybody just walking around, at least in the United States of America, because that's what I can speak to, because I haven't left the country since the pandemic. The bottom line is that this is not over. And anything that will remind us that it's still going on without people losing their lives, without people getting incredibly sick and stuff like that. Of course, we're not wishing something like that on anybody. But every now and then, you need to be reminded, this is not over. It's far from over. And it needs to be treated with the seriousness it deserves, Swagoo.
Well, you know, Stephen A., obviously you make the very logical and great point, but that's not how football has been operating. And I get it. I understand what you're saying about us in our personal life. But when you look at this particular situation and you look at all of the situations that's going on in the NFL, and I get it that protocols are in place and things are quote unquote being done to keep players safe, it's not going to. Like, that's the bottom line. So, look, there's always two parts, right? You can get vaccinated. You can still get COVID. You have a better chance of not fighting symptoms or ending up in the ICU or potentially on your deathbed. Better chance. That's just facts. That's not an opinion or feelings intertwined in that. The other part is football has been trudging along. Last year, obviously not having fans in the stands, and then you saw that starting to lighten up towards the end of the season. The bottom line is this, man. Like, you have to try to avoid this as much as possible. This won't be the last week we lose the prominent names on football teams. And coincidentally, me covering football every single day, I can't help but to think about when we potentially get to SoFi in LA, if you have this situation arise during the week of a Super Bowl, what is the protocols for that as well? So look, to your point, Stephen A., everybody, wish them well. Hope they come back very healthy, because I think we throw that kind of out there with the assumption that players will come back healthy when we have examples of players saying, I didn't feel right for a while after I returned after battling or fighting COVID. So hopefully these guys can come back and be at full strength. But the bottom line is, to your point, S.A., it's not over. And I'm afraid that what we're seeing now will have some type of effect when we get to the playoffs and we get around the Super Bowl. And that's a heavy concern, but the NFL is going to continue to go forward.
I certainly hope not. But yes, a case is ravaging both the NFL and NBA. And to your point about the Super Bowl, I know Diana Rossini was reporting on Get Up earlier. Owners are currently meeting in Dallas. Top of the agenda, COVID protocols.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.